Cancer, as the moon finishes up her time in Scorpio, stick around to find out what gift she's bringing up that you can utilize to transform into a more empowered you. But before we get into that, Cancer, for those of you who are returning, welcome back, Soul Tribe. I appreciate your subscriptions, your likes, and shares. Your support really is just the greatest, Cancer, and it keeps us growing. And for those of you who are new, welcome to the Chariot Friends. Justin here, and I'm happy your higher self has brought you here. We're in for an amazing journey. And also, if you're new, this is a channel for those of you who have Cancer in your placement: Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, Mars, Pluto, wherever, Cancer. This one's for you. And I do tarot card spreads based off our ruler here, the good old moon. She has been, I'm so pumped up because she's been just gracing me with her presence. We've been saying goodnight to each other. It's been lovely, Cancer. And I'll talk about what sign she's in, what phase she's in, when she's going forward. Of course, just all of those lunar shenanigans. And and she's going to avoid a course of it, Cancer. And just so you're all aware, this is a general reading, not a one-to-one, so take what resonates with you, leave the rest with me, never force a reading on a situation, and everything will be dope, Cancer. I know, I'm kind of pumped up for a Scorpio moon. Let's get into it. Let's ride this out, Cancer. Don't happen that often. We're gonna milk this one. And Cancer, your space has been cleansed. Crystals, feeling lovely. Just great energy all around here, Cancer. And you know, Cancer, part of the reason too may be happy Jupiter Day. Jupiter is associated with Thursdays. This is a great time for expansion, Cancer. This is a great time for, Jupiter is a planet of they say of luck, but I feel where the luck comes in is because Jupiter brings about that sense of optimism. It gives this idea of there's that, one of the rulers or one of the signs that Jupiter's guardian over is Sagittarius, where the moon's moving into next. And that'd actually be nice. It'll be in a really nice conversation there. But Sagittarius is about that sense of adventure, and they see opportunities in all things. And that's where the luck comes in. When we go with that, I feel energy of just kind of seizing the day, life comes back at you with that. It can bring back this I don't know, this sense of just like anything's possible here. So work with that energy. And I feel this can be a great one too, considering where Jupiter is at. When we're working with these days and hours, it is important to kind of consider where Big Papa or what Big Papa's doing in the sky. And being in Taurus and having just had this big conversation with Uranus and Taurus, this is a kind of a big deal. These Jupiter days could be really great ones for building yourself up, investing in yourself with Jupiter being in Taurus, learning more ways that you can grow and expand in all the ways that you do bring it, Cancer. And a lovely thing too, Mercury's going direct today. So Mercury's starting to wake up, still kind of stretching right now. Hasn't quite gotten out of bed, but we've acknowledged that the alarm is going off. And so that's lovely, Cancer. The energies are getting optimistic. I feel that things are changing. We've been through a lot of kind of big energy shifts. Things have been a lot of conjunctions where things have been fusing and oppositions with the full moon that just happened. But now hopefully things are going to start kind of settling in. You can just kind of relax there, Cancer. And this would be a lovely time to do that, Cancer, because like I was saying, the moon's going void of course today. Now the moon's going to be going void of course at about 4:16 p.m. and that'll be Pacific time. And then she'll be moving from Scorpio into the gregarious Sagittarius that was a nice one, at about 6:36 p.m. So we're looking at about a 2-hour, 20-minute void of course time there, Cancer. And the nice thing about the void of course energy is when the moon has her final conversation with the celestial body, and then she just kind of roams the void a little bit. She just reflects on the energies that she's just kind of gone through, especially having gone through an intense sign of Scorpio, the sign where she is in fall. So her energy, she has to bring a lot more energy to do. Like where Mars is, works effortlessly in Scorpio, being that he's dignified here. But the moon being in fall, it takes her a lot more energy to do the same thing that Mars can do just kind of breezy. So, it's, and the flavor of this, ooh, I like that, Cancer. Hold on here. Think of yourself. The flavor of this void, of course, is that the moon's last conversation was with Neptune, and she was forming a trine with Neptune. And one thing with the void, of course, I feel is a great thing to take some time to meditate, to process the transition when you go from one sign to another, and notice that shift, Cancer. I had noticed when the moon had moved from Libra into Scorpio, I had really kind of felt a lot of the more intensity of the Scorpio full moon kind of in Virgo is when I was starting to feel that stuff. I had a lot of things kind of come up, and then the Libra energy balanced that out, and when we got into Scorpio, there was this different sense of almost a peace with what kind of happened here. And that's where I feel this void of course energy is, where this is a lovely kind of ending with this Scorpio energy trining with Neptune, because trines are harmonious. They can bring about this energy of motion where the energies are flowing smoothly. And considering that the moon would have been in Scorpio, Neptune being in Pisces, this is a very kind of very intuitive energy when the moon is in Scorpio. She's feeling deeply, and I feel that this is trying to, I feel like for some, if you've had, a big kind of emotional maybe time during this full moon, maybe you had a lot of things, this could be the things kind of settling in, a new kind of energy integrating, walking in a new type of power, because that's what Scorpio ultimately does in facing some of these fears and some of these more harsher things. Yes, it may not feel great in that moment, but when we're on the other side of it, you've survived. You got through it. It may not have felt like it then, and there's strength in that. And then you start then it gives you there's this incentive of just like seizing the day again. There's something here that Scorpio is this energy of like going where your emotions go. They really follow the heart, and do what feels, what they're drawn to, and their passions. And I feel that if you've been having troubles maybe integrating some things this time, take this void of course time it's a time to do nothing. It's a time where there's no energies. So this can be where you just give that what you're feeling space, and just allow it just to be. And then notice how that energy shifts as she moves in from, around wherever your time zone may be, when she makes that transition from Scorpio to Sagittarius. Pay attention to what may come up. If anything happens to come up, something to just kind of, I feel like paying, like as you get familiar with yourself. That's what the void, of course, I feel too, is to understand the nuances. It's one thing when you're going through it, it can be hard to map what's going on, but then when you look in hindsight, it's just like, oh, there's the lessons, there's the growth, there's the power that is coming through there. The void, of course, can be a very powerful time for just healing. And with all the energies, Cancerian energy being as sensitive as we are to this, what's going around, it is I feel imperative almost to just make sure to see what is going on within you and how these fluctuations are affecting you, considering how often the moon changes. Cycles are very important for all of us, but for Cancerian energy in particular. So something to keep in mind of with this void, of course. Take those times for rest, Cancer, to be with yourself. So, and then we have this, we're in a waning gibbous phase in Scorpio. And we are kind of getting on this tail end of this energy, because now I feel like I feel the waning gibbous, it still has that same bigness that the waxing one has, but I feel like that it's that after you've had a full meal, it's just like the idea of like, okay, letting everything kind of digest now. Like, okay, let me process this stuff as more space is being made. Because that's ultimately what Scorpio wants. There's this purge that's happening so that new energies can kind of come through there. See, I feel there's an appreciation for these cycles and understanding, and especially because Scorpio is I feel like as far as like when it comes to letting go, Scorpio is one of the more intense signs that comes toward, or that deals with that concept. And so this is a very compassionate time when we're getting in this and throughout all the cycle, but I feel especially in this waning phase, this is the time where we celebrated our wins. We've kind of gone back, and where we didn't win, we kind of went home and licked our wounds and kind of processed what's, I just feel like this energy is just kind of just processing what the hell happened, you know, and what, how did I get through that, you know, just a real kind of assessment when we're going through that. Do I feel that I really understood that experience, or is there something that I may need to get back to maybe at another time? Maybe there's something that maybe this is something that I mark and just like as a kind of a keep an eyes on this thing, or how is my relationship with this, or you know, those types of questions is what I kind of feel may come up for you as we're getting into this waning cycle here. And then I feel that'll be nice because when you've really kind of processed what the Scorpio Moon in Scorpio is trying to teach you, then you can take that into Sagittarius and figure out where does that inspire you to go? Where do we take that journey? You know, where do we grow from here? So, you know, overall, like this I feel like was a pretty kind of intense lunar cycle here, but I feel that the value that's coming from it is going to be worth more than I feel is right now. I feel like there's this understanding of like, okay, an appreciation for getting through, but I feel like it's really going to pay off their Cancer as we get further along into this year, especially I feel like when we get around like Cancer season. You know, I feel like that could be energies I feel like are going to start kind of balancing out their Cancer. Some exciting stuff coming into the mix, but that's what I've got for you there. And if you're curious about how these energies are working in your chart there, Cancer, wanted to get to understand these more thoroughly, book a reading with me. I have links down in the description box below and also on my bio page on Instagram as well. And if you have any questions, feel free to direct message me on Instagram. And I go over a number of things, Cancer, whatever we're looking, if we're looking for I listen. What I kind of like to do is just kind of hear where your general kind of concerns are at. We'll get a map either for the year, or maybe if we're feeling a little more focused for like on a smaller scale for like a month basis, whatever you're feeling capable to digest at that time. This could just be even just getting an overall scale of who you are, kind of just looking into the natal chart, understanding yourself a bit more, hopefully a lot more deeply as you get into this. You know, it's one thing to just say, you know, my sun signs in Cancer, but what does it mean to you when we're talking sun sign and Cancer in the third house, when you're learning about your emotions, or when your sun sign in Cancer in the sixth house, and you know, how do your emotions play a part in your day-to-day routine, maybe in your jobs, maybe you're working, maybe thinking about doing as far as like a therapist or something. You know, it really can change the questions that you ask yourself and maybe bring about some interests that you may have either maybe been brought up to you before that maybe you hadn't considered, or maybe it's just like we're doing this in a totally different way. It's neat how these things can come up for you there, Cancer. So if that's something that resonates with you, definitely check down. And I also do tarot card readings as well there, Cancer, because how could you not? But yeah, that's all that information is down there, Cancer. Now, before we get into this thing, just the last couple things. These readings that I do, they're not gender-specific readings, so apply these energies to people as they make sense for your situations. And then in the description box below, there's a links for some readers that I really enjoy. One in particular, Jamie, she's fantastic. We just did a live together not too long ago, and that was a really fun time. But she does really great stuff. She has a book club that she does that hosts, I think it's every 2 weeks. And then just some other really just great, goes over mental health and really just some other really fantastic things as well. So if that's something that resonates with you, definitely check her channels out. She has a Cancer exclusive one as well, Cancer, because we're raising the vibration through the roof. But Cancer, let's go ahead and get into your general energy. Let's play a little bit, Cancer, because you have the Elves card here, which is the card of playfulness. And I like this energy too, because it's interesting because it's the 15th card, which is devil energy, Capricorn. But I'm not necessarily getting like necessarily devil vibes in like that traditional sense. There's this playfulness here that I feel could benefit Capricorn energy sometimes. What this playfulness is giving me is thinking about when we're talking about houses, for example. I ran across someone who has their sun in Capricorn in the 5th house. And so this is understanding about who they want to be, but it's like it's this exploring as far as like through creativity, through this passion, through this fun, what lights up your world. And that's what this is giving me. I feel like it's what this energy has been, I feel, trying to teach us is to, when we're in those tougher times, yes, they can be really harsh, but it's just like when we've grown from them. You know how when you look back at certain things and think like, man, I was a real kind of mess there. Like what was even going on? I look back at sometimes like where the vibration that I was in, I was just like, what, thank you for what you did. You really brought it. You really tried it. It was you hit some walls, you tripped, you fell, you got back up. And I feel like it's developing this playfulness or this more sort of jocular relationship with those more intense energies that Scorpio can bring up. Because Scorpio's not just meant to be all obsessed all the time, and that because Scorpio energies, when I think about the people that I know with like sun and Scorpios, even like some moons in Scorpio risings, they're very pleasant people. Yes, there's this underlying experience that you can't ignore, of course. They're not immune to this. They see the truth. There's this, but in that truth, there's this love that comes with that. There's this, they're not afraid to live life, I remember talking with this one person I used to work at this place with, and I mean, she had done all types of things, met all sorts of really kind of famous people and all these things, and not like you just wouldn't have expected the stories that I would hear. And I was just like, man, but there were also Scorpio, came with like, I mean, Scorpio is a double-edged sword, just like with any of the signs. There's dark sides to Cancer, as you know, like all the stuff there's that balance that comes through there. But I feel that it's remembering that those darker sides of these signs, they're not meant to bring us down. They're meant to show us where we can rise up further, where we can, they're just potentialities, it doesn't have to be where you can stay where that is locked in there forever. And I just feel like there's a lightness that is being asked here, even though it's Scorpio. There's a lightness that I feel is being asked when we're thinking about some of these kind of tougher things. That I'll tell you what, Cancer, I have had a moment with this Scorpio moon. I'm just like, we're just bawling in the kitchen at one point, and that seems to be like a common theme. I've had like multiple breakdowns in the kitchen. That's like my favorite place for trauma to happen. But it's one of those things. It's like, is it funny? Like, it depends on your humor, but it is one of those things where those experiences, I do feel that there is a reminder that it's not just meant to be just all intense all the time. These intense times are just to show you where maybe some unconscious fears have been programming you to keep you from doing things that you love, keep you from your passion. It's been maybe keeping some secret pleasures that you've won from yourself. Maybe you want to go scuba diving. Maybe you want to go backpacking somewhere. Maybe you want to, and it's not, I don't feel like it's necessarily just being irresponsible, because Scorpio's great with money. Scorpio's about joint finances. It's the fusion of energies. This is merging. But I feel that there's this merging maybe with playfulness that's coming on. They're learning to play with these kind of darker aspects. So that's very interesting. Cancer, let's get into this a little bit. Let me get some tarot and get some details with that. Interesting. Ooh. Okay. All right, Cancer. Get herself. Let's see what's going on here. Oh! Alright. So you have Taurus here, the Hierophant, their opposite sign. The Hermit, Virgo. The Prince of Cups, that's Scorpio for me. The Five of Cups. The Ace of Swords, the Ten of Disc, and the Seven of Wands here, Cancer. And you know, with the Hierophant being here, the Hierophant is this, he's this energy of initiation. The Hierophant can be this teacher, this process that can be of life. Because this is a lot of, you came out with a lot of reflective energy starting here, Cancer, with the Hierophant and the Hermit. And I feel that this is starting off, I feel like it's reflecting on what this full moon in Scorpio has been teaching you. Because Scorpio is one that when you've learned to face those things, when you start to face those fears, Cancer, and start... Because the Five of Cups is like an emotional upheaval. This is Mars in Scorpio. This is feeling some intense things. You know, you're not sure what to do. You know, it's a very... I feel when Scorpio energy, you know, the moon is exposing something, and I feel when we feel that energy of exposure, there's this embarrassment that can comes with it, there's this shame, maybe there's this a lot of just maybe what could be labeled as unpleasant, but really are empowering, because they don't have to define us. These are something that we're feeling, something that we're releasing, something that I feel is... Because what I was getting at with Scorpio, I feel when you meet those energies that deeply and you start understanding yourself more, that strengthens your intuition. Scorpio's like it's like shamanic type of energies, the way that they can channel the forces that they, you know, there's that same Scorpio I was talking about would tell me these stories about just like these interactions. And, you know, can take what resonates with the Cancer, but, you know, with these interactions with kind of other spirits, as far as like she had a friend who had passed away, had a big thing with peacocks, and there was this whole story trying to get this... Oh, it was a whole thing, Cancer. I don't, you know, it's a story for another day. But the symbolism and all the things that lined up, it was one of those things. You know, it's like you take what resonates with you. But I get chills even just thinking about what I've heard with different Scorpio energies, and it's a thing, and it's really cool. And I feel it's something that we want to learn to cherish and to protect, and not to overly criticize it or let others make you feel that it's not okay to feel the way you do, or to have moments where you're having these breakdowns in a sense. And I feel like Scorpio doesn't necessarily, they're trying to get you to break you down. These emotions are trying to get you to break through something, to get you to get to your Ten of Pentacles here, get to this state, get to a state of almost of exaltation and dignity here. I've been reading a lot about Mercury here lately, and Mercury is very fascinating. Mercury's exalted and dignified, which means his guardianship is in Virgo. So it functions very efficiently in Virgo, and I feel like that this is you learning to deal with these phases here, Cancer, and learning to evolve through these cycles is worth your weight in gold, Cancer. There's this wealth, there's this emotional wealth that is coming through here. It's giving me very kind of King of Cups here. And in that, I feel that's where we were talking about with Jupiter Day, because now you've learned that, because sometimes I feel with the Prince of Cups, when he is not able to, you know, when he gets kind of stuck in those lower vibrations of Scorpio, you can get to the place where why even bother, life sucks, you know, like it, and then you just surrender all of your power. There's, you know, because then Scorpio being ruled by Mars and Pluto, we've decided to not change. We've decided to become stagnant. We're repressing passions. We're repressing our drive. You know, it's just kind of going off into nothing, you know, obscuring into the darkness. So But again, it doesn't need to be all morbid with Scorpio Cancer. It can be something where it can be very playful. We can make it into something that over time we can develop and you know, this is something where I don't expect you to be homies with these things, but at least where we can sit at the same table and have discussions like, hey, this is some things that I've been feeling, and to be able to meet that side with understanding and know that there's still some growth that can happen from that. So let's get some more on this, Cancer. Cancer. Wait. All right, let's see what's going on here, Cancer. Thank you, herself. Oh, then look at Cancer. I love it. And that's exactly where the sun is. So you have the Two of Swords, the Two of Discs, the Six of Discs, and then the Sun card here, Cancer. Look at your sunlight. That's what happens when we make friends with these emotions. Happiness happens. Or at least I feel that let me be serious, Cancer. What I feel happens is the relationship changes when we approach these energies a little differently. You know, I feel like I feel like it starts with just making the space for them to be seen. You know, for it to really just be, you may not even have to do anything with it. It may just be where you're just having a moment where we're feeling really angry, where we're feeling this. And I feel like it's creating yourself a space to constructively process this. If you're feeling a lot of, let's say, rage, for example, you're not sure where to channel that, let's invest in that. Let's get a punching bag. Let's get something so that we're not, because I'll tell you what, Cancer, there was a period of time where I hadn't really understood anger in myself. I would have these spells where it would just be this real intense, it'd be really intense, and I'm like, I got it. And then I wouldn't have it. And it would just be just like, and a lot of broken things and holes in walls, and really unnecessary. A lot of unnecessary, kind of like, I'm an expert at patching holes in walls. So I mean, there's some gifts that came with that, but gifts I don't want to have to utilize. But I feel it is working with those energies like that. It's accommodating those needs so that the moon doesn't expect you to solve them in 2.5 days. It's such a short period of time to process this. That's why we do this stuff in phases. You know, because I'll tell you what, even another example, this moon in Scorpio was a lot easier for me personally. You know, like if I had bunkers ready, food rationed, but I had a harder time when the moon was in Gemini and when the moon was in Virgo, and this one was a lot easier for me, you know, but and that's just to show it was the situation, the circumstances were different, the energies were different, and it's just something to keep an eye on, you know. And it's a learning process. It's not like oh, why didn't I see that coming? It's just like oh, okay, so that's why this was going on during this month, that's why blah 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 was happening. It's like, oh, okay, and that's where, you know, you just kind of make peace with this. I like that the Two of Swords came with this. Talk about the moon. This is the moon in Libra. Making harmony. Both these cards. Moon and Venus signs. Moon in Libra, and this is the moon in Taurus, where the moon does very well in Taurus, exalted in Taurus. A lot of cards of exaltation here, Cancer. But, yeah, I do got a lot of strong energy cards here. But what I feel is going on here, Cancer, is you getting success with the Six of Discs. The Six of Discs, I feel, too, is this reciprocity. It's giving, because what I feel, too, Cancer, it's just like in your chart. I'm just looking at this. They have all the symbols here of the 7 main planets that you can see with the naked eye. And everyone loves Jupiter. Who doesn't love Big Papa? Venus is always celebrated, even though the moon gets mixed reviews. Mercury gets mixed reviews. Mars, we just let Mars be. And Saturn always gets a bad rap. But we can't ignore these sides of ourselves, because Saturn's still going to be there. Saturn's still going to function. Saturn's still going to ask you to be disciplined, still going to ask you to do this, still wants you to ultimately shine your light, shine bright, come out of this hermit energy and be the best version of that you want to be. But I do feel this change here. It's just there's something here about changing our relationship with how we relate to these emotions that I feel come up. And it may not, again, doesn't have to be necessarily a playfulness, but I do feel it's a more of an accepting type of energy here, Cancer. Well, let's get some advice from Mars and Pluto. We've been in this Scorpio energy a while here, Cancer. I feel like this was an important one, I feel, to kind of understand this your relationship with these energies here. And yeah, hopefully you are noticing. And then, Cancer, down below, I'd love to hear how these lunar cycles have been working for you, how you've been resonating with them, to see how they're compared from different moon signs, and I would love to hear that. So if that's something that resonates with you, and will share your story, absolutely, Cancer. All right, Cancer, last little bit here. Think to yourself. See what's up. Oh, there's Pluto. I love it. And Libra. So you have, and Uranus is here. Cancer, I love this. So you have the Ten of Cups, the Three of Disc, the Queen of Disc, the Princess of Swords, the Eon card, Pluto, and the Adjustment card. I don't know if I said before, but full here's Uranus. Everybody, it's a whole party here, Cancer. Let's switch back over. So with this energy here, Cancer, with the Adjustment card, when Libra has this very interesting contract with universe in that they just have to, there's this balancing of the chaos that is the universe. It's knowing that in order to have this reaction, something else has to balance that out. And there is their acceptance of, but with Libra, I feel there is that acceptance of that light and dark side. That there is, everyone has a fair playing field with the Adjustment card. And I feel when we have that balance, things work more efficiently here with the Three of Disc here. I feel we get into a nice type of flow. We start to seize opportunities more with the Fool, feeling a bit more courageous, feeling a bit more ready for change with the Eon card being here. But I do feel this Eon card is really kind of, again, taking a look at, I almost feel with the Ten of Cups, maybe what were some maybe dreams that how are the things that where you're going now, where you have your plan, Cancer, what in your current picture is not, just doesn't seem congruent with that dream. What's not, I like the Queen of Disc is getting like a bird's eye view of the landscape. She's building something here. She's got ideas with the Princess of Swords being here, but I feel we can't just build just any old place. This energy here, I feel, is looking at where just things need to be more stable, or just where, even too, because this is the Ten of Cups is Mars and Pisces, and Mars is still in Pisces depending on when you're watching this. And Mars, I feel, in Pisces sometimes can feel like it wants something, but then when that dream starts to realize, when it gets closer to the sun always looks nice, but when you think about, I want to go travel to the sun's really hot, and then it will burn you. But there's this disenchantment, I feel, that sometimes can happen. And I feel like this, whatever, and this is not to discourage you from your dream, Cancer, but I feel like it's more so, how do you keep going with whatever changes or realizations that have maybe been revealed to you, and how do you keep working towards that dream and still keep that sense of satiety? How does it keep filling you up, even knowing that maybe we have to put a little bit more work towards something than we had expected, possibly maybe have brought up some more things that we didn't realize we needed to face here. But I feel the Fool here is asking you to leap at that, Cancer, to go towards that, because there's there's a chance for new. It's like there's, the Fool is zero. That it's, and there's this chance. I'm getting like almost like a blank slate here. This is the time to just kind of, all right, we've emptied out. Now we can fill this with new energy. And fill this with new fuel. Whatever this is for you, Cancer. So. I like that, Cancer. I think I'm going to leave that there. So, and if you didn't like that, Cancer, if anything resonated with you, give it a thumbs up. And share this thing, Cancer, if you know someone who's been, maybe just been having a tough time kind of processing these energies. Because Scorpio can be, I feel it's just like I feel like with a lot of signs. It's when we haven't had a time to really build a close relationship with how our energies function in that signature, it can seem like there's this always darkness. But this has even turned my view about how I like. And I've always really admired Scorpio energy. I mean, my Pluto's in Scorpio in the 4th house, so I mean, I talk about some intense emotions, but it's one where I feel like it's almost like a being mindful of the prejudices maybe that we can have of certain energies, frequencies sometimes. Because I know some people who feel some ways about Cancer, and it's just like, and bet we've talked about it. But it's really, I feel like it's learning to build this relationship, because we all have some placement or some interaction with the Zodiac, with every placement in the Zodiac in some sort of way. There's a relationship that is there. Just how there is when I was talking about even with like the planets. I've been working with Saturn a lot more. This moon did for me, because it was squaring my Saturn so in such a tight way. It was just like, okay, let me where am I at with Saturn? That's like Saturn has. I have a really strong, as the strongest aspect I have. It's about exact. It's like maybe 8 minutes separation or something. But my Saturn squared my midheaven, and there has been challenges in what I want to be, who I've gone through, and especially this last with Uranus entering, they've been traveling to my 10th house. It's been a lot of questioning of like, where am I going? Who am I? What the hell? So, but that's, now I don't feel so, like turned off by Saturn. Saturn's got great expectations. Saturn wants me to do well, but he's just like, you gotta work at it. Like, you can't, if I just handed it to you, you wouldn't appreciate it. So, or at least that's what I'm telling myself. But yeah, Cancer, I just feel, if you're just having trouble integrating this energy or something, just, share this, Cancer. Then subscribe there, you son. Hit that bell button to get notified of all these videos each day. And then last little bit there, Cancer, just like if you wanted to, again, know how these energies are working in your chart, just like how I've come to learn how we're working in mine and in others, definitely book a reading down there with me. I could talk with you. I answer all the questions. There's never too many questions, Cancer. I love answering all the questions. And yeah, my whole goal is to get you to where you just feel more comfortable in who you are and where you're walking in this energy, and to really kind of embody those gifts, and maybe even discover some sides of yourself that you didn't know how to. When I did our live with Jamie, we were kind of talking about the idea of Leo risings, and people kind of just assume that Leo just is just out there and just charismatic, and it definitely can be, but sometimes, in Cancer, you kind of got to work at that a little bit. Cancer is more kind of reclusive. We kind of like keep our stuff to our chest, so not to have to, but to explore that side of being more kind of out there, being more kind of, yes, Leo 9. It's fun. It's cool. So it gives you just a chance to work in the opportunities that open up are fascinating. So, but yeah, definitely check that out down in the description box or on my bio page on Instagram. And also, there's one other thing. Oh, after we get done looking at your chart, that Cancer, come over to my other channel, Alchemist 8, where I talk about the celestial weather that's going on. Maybe that's what I'll call it. Celestial. Oh, that might be it. Like, so I think I'm gonna change it to Celestial Forecast. It'll still be weekly download this week, but I think I'm gonna switch the title of that. I like that better, Cancer. I think we're gonna roll with that. But I do a Celestial Forecast of the yes. Oh, that's so much better. But I do a celestial forecast of the aspects that are going to be going on. You know, the planet's always just a chit-chatting. So it's just to see how this energy is translating collectively and how this may be working in your chart as well. And all housekeeping is down in the description box below. But let me get your surprise cards here, Cancer, so I can get you out of here. All right, Cancer. So you have the Five of Swords here. Or excuse me, Five of Swords. Five of Wands here, Cancer. And the Five of Wands is this card of conflict. It's speaking of Saturn, Saturn and Leo, and this kid, and this I feel is appropriate. What I feel this Scorpio energy is trying to do is seeing what ways that we have restricted ourselves. Because Saturn doesn't he doesn't just prevent us from doing stuff. Saturn delays. He makes sure we're taking our time with what we're doing. You know, Saturn is all about quality when he's building stuff. You know, we're building stuff to last for millennia when it comes with Saturn. And so I feel that this Five of Wands here is this brainstorming card of just like how we can work with these inner conflicts that are coming through for you, Cancer. What are they signaling? And if the signals have gotten to this place where where it's unbearable, for example, and this is not me saying you quit your job, but let's say you hate where you're going, for example, you know, and it just fills you. It's just like, well, what can we do to fix this? Can we bring in, maybe we can't afford to quit that, then what are some ways that we can either look maybe for some other jobs, or maybe we can bring in some more playfulness in between those times so that you have more of a way to recharge, to tackle that a bit more. You know, it's getting to, I feel this Five of Wands is working more constructively with that frustration, though, that anger, that depression, and this is not saying you have to do this by yourself, Cancer. Saturn is a very solitary type of energy, but I feel, what's the point of sitting there not knowing what to do? You know, this is where we can go to a Hierophant, get some tools to understand how we can maybe process some of these things here, you know, how we can maybe form this relationship with things or with our emotions. Maybe there's, you know, but Saturn and Leo, I feel like that's not Saturn restricting your creativity. He's asking you to be more creative. And if you need time with that, he has nothing but time. He's associated with time. He will take as long as you want. You know, that is not he's not gonna rush you. But okay, hold on, Cancer, we got a couple cards here. Think of yourself. See what's going on here. Oh, interesting, Cancer. Oh, I like that. Okay, so first card here, we have the 53rd card, which is the Seahorse Spirit, which is a card of watch and wait. Like I was saying, Saturn just said, just watch and wait. And then you have the Pig Spirit here, which is use your mind wisely. And why I feel you're watching and waiting, Cancer, find ways to use your mind. Like, find some ways to, I feel, or what I feel this Pig Spirit is, you know, is really kind of getting at, is your thoughts are powerful, Cancer, considering that you got the Ace of Swords here. So it is using your mind wisely. Do we want to take these fits that we get in and surrender all of our power to them? Or can we learn some ways to work with these energies more, work with ourselves more efficiently, get down to the root of these things and find a new path, find a new way to get in this state of harmony here. And I think I was talking about that with the two disc and the Two of Swords, but I love like Libra and Taurus are here. Both signs are associated with Venus. And Venus is our relationships to things. And granted, this is how we find peace, how we find balance, how we find harmony, how do we, and that's why I feel like a lot of this, that influence here, even though the Empress isn't here, there is this need, I feel, to something to help kind of quell that fire, or whatever that is that may be kind of coming up there for a Cancer, what it may have been brought up during this during this full moon energy, maybe even during this lunar cycle. So just something I feel like kind of meditate on there, Cancer. Be kind with yourself as you're going through this stuff. We're all figuring this things out together. So, but you stay mindful out there, Cancer. I think I'm gonna leave that there. Stay aware. Keep your wits about you. Keep eyes on the moon there, Cancer. That's always a great way to bring the energies down a little bit. There's just something about just when you could just kind of take a moment, just kind of be with the moon, and but no kind of expectations, like to spend as little or as long as you want. I feel like there's no amount of time. If you just want to take a quick peek, that's cool. If you want to spend a couple hours just staring at the sky, that's cool too. But I feel it's forming that bond, and just watch and wait, Cancer. I feel things are coming to fruition. And I will catch you on the next one tomorrow, Venus Day.